And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on air host, Sara DiVello, and I'm so excited to welcome to the show tonight Jessica Hamilton, joining us live from Canada to give us the inside scoop on her brand new red hot racy book, Don't You Dare, out tomorrow. Jessica, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm
Yay!
really excited to be here. So, yes, Don't You Dare. It's about three friends. They were at college together, two females, one male. Hannah is our main protagonist, and she and her friend Scarlett were best friends for years. They meet Thomas at college, and they start playing something called the daring game. Well, things go very wrong in college. Thomas has to leave school, and Hannah hasn't heard from him for 16 years. She's married with two girls, not very happy in life, bored, not happily married. Thomas arrives back on the scene and he wants to start playing the daring game again. And as you might imagine, it turns into something much more than a game, and they have an affair. And they're playing the game, enjoying their affair, and then someone else suddenly seems to join the game without their permission. Somebody that knows what they're doing now and what they did in the past. So they have to figure out who that is before Hannah's whole life is blown apart.
Whoa. Jessica, we got a lot to talk about. I can't wait to get into every dirty, delicious detail. First, I just want to welcome everyone. So, we are broadcasting live to 7 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube. Friends, fellow mystery lovers, if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, we're so happy to have you. Here's the drill. Every Monday for hashtag Mystery Monday, I give you my hand-picked featured authors, and you get to ask them anything. So, ask Jessica about her writing practice, her craft, where this crazy idea came from. We have a lot of exciting reviews to talk about. So we've got a lot to get into. Just get the questions going in the comments. I'll get them right over to her. We have Nikki Miracle in the audience. She is at Graciously Booked on Instagram, one of my very favorite reviewers and people. Nikki, welcome. So great to have you. We have a mystery user saying, hi, Sara and Jessica. We have someone saying, howdy from Texas. Hi, friends. By the way, if you're watching from a private Facebook group, and we are broadcasting to 3 private groups, the people in the group can see you, but the rest of us, you will remain very mysterious to us. You can enable privacy settings in the link above the video should you choose to be not mysterious. Nikki says she loves the cover. This is such a beautiful cover, Jessica. So tell us the story of the cover.
Well, it was a hard cover. I was asked by my publisher what ideas I had. I gave them a few. I think that they were pretty typical. I wasn't that creative around it. And then they came up. There is a scene at the very beginning with a water tower. It's the first dare that is given when Thomas and Hannah start the game. And they wanted to use the water tower. I was a bit resistant. I thought, oh, I don't know. And then when they sent the final version to me, I was amazed. I love the orangey red of it. I also love it. I'm really happy with it. But it was all the publisher. I can't take any credit for what they came up with.
Well, you got a good one. Rebecca, welcome to the conversation, saying she loves the cover too. Me too. There's red and orange and sunset colors are sort of my favorite colors. So I love it too. And I love seeing how it resonates with so many of my fellow mystery lovers here. Hi, Wendy. So great to have you. Thank you, Wendy, AKA Catch a Clue. Always a pleasure to have you pop up. All right, y'all, let's jump right in because we got some questions. So first of all, Jessica, how did you come up with this crazy idea? Did you ever play a daring game? I mean, we need to know.
Well, sure, I did. Of course, I played Truth or Dare when I was a kid and a teenager. But I didn't play anything like this particular game that I've written in the book. The idea came to me, actually, the first little seed of this book came in a dream that I had, a very strange dream that I remembered so clearly. It was about a couple having an affair, but only through writing. They passed a notebook back and forth in secret locations, and they just wrote everything down instead of doing anything physical at all. And I thought that was so interesting. So I tried to make that work. It didn't work. It's really hard. It's not that exciting to actually have an affair written out in a notebook. Physical things are much more interesting. So I just slowly developed into something else, and I thought, well, maybe they have a notebook, but it's a game. It's their dares, and So they compile some evidence of their relationship, but not the whole thing. That's sort of how it started for me.
Wow. I've actually never played Truth and Dare, so I am intrigued. So when you played, did you take the truth or the dare?
I almost always took the dare.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay, it's all
yeah.
coming together now. It's all coming together. Renee, welcome to the conversation. Hi, so great to have you here. She is joining us from Southeast Florida. How fabulous. Welcome to the conversation. So Jessica, I want to get into some of the amazing praise that your book has earned. So let's kick off with Samantha Bailey, your fellow Canadian,
Mhm.
and she is the best-selling author of Woman on Edge and Watch Out for Her. And she came on Mystery and Thriller Mavens for Watch Out for Her. I'm going to pop this up because it's quite lengthy. But she says it is grippy, racy, and bone chilling. Don't You Dare is a beautifully written domestic suspense with a brilliant balance of emotion and fear. Jessica Hamilton has created a raw, heart-shattering, tense story of lust and revenge in a game that spins out of control. The build-up kept me on tenterhooks, and the climax left me reeling. This is a stupendous, sinister book that you won't want to miss. Wow. Talk about
I know.
goals.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. So first of all, what do you think? This is not your first book. What have you learned from book one till now about writing a raw, heart-shattering, tense story of lust and revenge?
Well, it's interesting because Don't You Dare was actually the first thriller that I had ever written. And it's how I got my agent, my literary agent. And the first version of it, just their publishers didn't want it. So my agent said, I think take a break from it. I had done a few revisions of it and it just wasn't working. So I took a break. I wrote what is now my debut, What You Never Knew. And that was a whole other type of story. It was a thriller, but a different, very different story. And I did feel like I learned so much from that through the editorial process, also through my reviews and the feedback I got. And I went back to Don't You Dare and I did a whole new revision, adding in the dual timeline, which I actually, Laurie Elizabeth Lynn, her novel, The Girls Are Also Nice Here, that inspired the dual timeline for me. And I just had read it, I'd read so much before I went back to Don't You Dare, thrillers, learning from them that I felt like I could tackle it in a slightly different way, up the pace a little bit, up the stakes slightly. So it was all part of a learning process for me. So I'm just so happy that I didn't have to, just put it on a shelf forever.
Ooh, so what would you say you've learned?
I've learned the importance of pacing again, and just moving back and forth. I think that is really that can really help with keeping the reader engaged, and also the importance of backstory. I feel like with my
Ooh,
first, I maybe didn't give the characters enough backstory, their personality and and like friends they had or things they had done. I sort of jumped right into the story, so I learned more about developing the characters a little bit more thoroughly, and yeah, and just also, I feel like what I was praised for and What You Never Knew was how I wrote emotion and how people could really
ooh.
feel what the characters were feeling. So I focused again on that, thinking, well, I know that I do that well. So yeah.
Ooh, very helpful
Hmm.
to know all of this.
Hmm.
Very cool to get this backstory. Renee says, I just want to let you know these mics are super sensitive, so you may want to mute when you take a tiny sip. Renee says, I love that your book came from some people are super sensitive to that sound, so I've just become
Okay.
aware of it. Um,
Okay.
I love that your book came from a dream. I always have vivid dreams that I remember too. Oh, fascinating. I rarely remember them. So that's very cool. Was your other book inspired by a dream too, Jessica?
No, not at all. But
Ooh.
funnily enough, the book that I'm writing now, what would be my third, it's all based on a dream. Yeah. So I have the same thing. My dreams, I have very vivid dreams. I usually
Ooh.
remember them. Yeah. So they're pretty important in my life, dreams. Yeah.
Do you keep a dream journal next to your bedside table or anything?
Only if they are dreams that I feel like I could use in books, but otherwise, no, I don't really keep track of them, no.
Ooh, oh my gosh, I'm here for this dream conversation.
Mhm.
Oh, hi, Carrie White Shield. So Carrie is on Instagram at Carrie Reads Them All. She says, hello from Biloxi. She loved this steamy thriller. Carrie's an amazing bookstagrammer and reviewer. Carrie, so great to know that you loved it. Tell us what you loved about it. Carrie's handle is Carrie Reads Them All. Let me tell you, Carrie does read them all. That lady is a speed reader. So tell us, you read a lot, Carrie. Tell us what you loved about this one. I'd love to know. Renee wants to know, Jessica, have you started writing another thriller yet? So give us so you're saying this one is also inspired by a dream. Can you share any more?
Well, it's really in the preliminary stages, and sometimes I'm a little bit afraid because I've done it before where I've started a novel, I've even gotten 100 pages in, and then I lose momentum. I just don't. I lose the love of the story for some reason. But it's it could be a thriller. It's definitely got a thriller vibe to it, but
Ooh,
I'm not saying 100% that it will fit perfectly in that genre.
ooh.
It has to do with parallel lives, but not like Sliding Doors at all. Like sort of a very dark version, maybe.
Ooh, I love
Yeah.
that movie. And I'm so fascinated by, the butterfly effect and how everything impacts everything else and the choices we make and the choices we don't make. So I
Yes.
am here for it.
Yeah.
Chris, welcome to the conversation, joining us from YouTube, saying, I've been waiting to order this book. Chris, you're in the right place and it is the right time. So Jessica is coming on for a very special pre-launch Q&A. She's taking our questions. This is an exclusive sneak peek into her book, which is coming out tomorrow. And you can all order it tonight from our favorite woman-owned bookstore, Murder by the Book. And the good folks at the store will send it out tomorrow as soon as the book drops. So I'm going to pop that link up in the comments so that we can all order it no matter where you're watching from on Facebook or on YouTube. Chris, thank you for the comment. So great to have you here. Here's that pre-order link no matter where you're watching from. Um, ooh, Renee is saying that she says, thanks for sharing what you learned with us. And she said, I think it's important for the characters to have backstories as well. Exactly, Renee, because we get to know these people. We spend hundreds of pages in their lives, in their minds, in their bodies, in their experiences. And we want to know who we're dealing with. Am I right?
Yeah.
So thank you for this scoop. Okay, I want to get to Carrie's saying that she loved Hannah's backstory. Okay, we're all resonating with the backstory. Can a woman do bad things and still be a good mother? Took my breath away. Jessica, tell us about that quote. Tell us about that scene, that moment.
Well, it was actually a question that I've wondered myself before I'd even written the book.
Ooh.
Because I feel like when women become mothers, they they are expected to maintain this sort of level of morality and be infallible and not maybe have desires or for things that for illicit things or for things that men are allowed to have openly and not be and men don't have their role as a father questioned when they might step out of that out of the box of morality or out of what society deems as correct behavior and so I feel like it's different for women and I do think that women can make separate decisions outside of being a mother and they may not be the best decisions but it doesn't mean that they're not good mothers and so I wanted Hannah to struggle with that too and to question it because I think that should change.
Ooh, well, based on the hearts that are flooding up on Facebook, this is resonating, and you're not the only one who's been thinking of this. So that is so great to know that Carrie is an English teacher, a high school English teacher. So I especially love knowing, Carrie, that both as an English teacher and as a book reviewer, that line and a mother, that line really resonated with you and hit home. Thank you for all the hearts, you guys. Christine, Stamper Lady saying, thank you. I will order later. Thank you. Renee saying, this is so true about women not being held to the same, men not being held to the same standards as women. I am here for this conversation. So Jessica, did you reach a conclusion? Do you think a woman can do very bad things, or is there a limit on the bad things that she can do and still be a good mother? Can she do the unspeakable? Could she commit murder? Could she be a drug dealer? Could she be, what do you think?
I do actually. I do think a woman can be a really, really good mother and not make the best decisions as a person, but they may hold that job as of motherhood in a sacred way that the other questionable morality doesn't affect how they mother. I don't advise it. I don't. I think I would hope everybody tries to be good in terms of societal benefit at all times for their kids and for everyone else in their lives. But I don't think they should be. I don't. If they do something bad, I don't think they should necessarily be judged the same way as a mother.
Jessica, the last scene, starting a side hustle as a bank robber, but coming home to get dinner on the table for the kids in time. I love it. Let's talk about some of these other amazing reviews. Okay, let's go to Laurie Elizabeth Flynn, who we now know inspired your desire to write a dual point of view. So let's take a peek at what she had to say. You guys are laughing with me at Jessica's future career as a bank robber. She says, a sexy, thrilling, addictive story that will have readers frantically turning pages, desperate to find out what's going on, darkly romantic with a twisty mystery and a dangerous game at its core. Don't You Dare is the kind of juicy, seductive read that needs to be in everyone's beach bag this summer. I dare you to put this book down. I couldn't. So first of all, it must have been quite a moment to get those words of praise from the woman whose own book inspired your desire to do a dual POV.
It was, yeah, and I didn't even know that my publisher had sent it to her. I got in touch with a few authors that I know already and had some relationships with, but then I got a message from her, and I've got her blurb from my publisher, and it was wonderful. The same with Robin Harding. That came as a surprise, and I'm such a fan of her as an author too, and Samantha Bailey as well, of course, but she also blurbed my debut, and she was at my virtual book launch, and she's joining me for my in-person book launch on Friday in Toronto. So she and I are friends now, and I knew she was going to blurb for me. But the others were such a nice surprise, and it feels great when you are a fan of their writing and then they actually love your writing. It makes you feel like you've done something right. Yeah.
So you didn't, my next question was, were you nervous to know that this woman who had inspired your own writing was reading it, but you didn't have a chance to get nervous because you didn't know?
No, I'm glad I didn't. I'm
Right. 'Cause
really glad I didn't.
that would be some tense time if you were like, does she like
Yeah.
it? I mean, I would be unable to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of Robin Harding, she is coming on the show for her upcoming book, The Drowning Woman. And let's take a peek at her praise as well. I'm going to pop it up so we can all read. She says, it is a sexy, twisted tale of friendship. Hold on, I'm just going to pop it up here so we can all read it. Obsession and the kind of secrets that won't stay buried, with a complex but relatable protagonist, an intriguing dual storyline, and sharp insights on marriage, motherhood, and community. This is a spicy page turner. So I want to talk about spicy. So it's actually really hard, I think, to write sexy sex scenes and scary scenes, because while you think it may be easy, when you actually go to write them, at least in my my personal experience, they come off clunky and not scary or sexy at all. So clearly, you know your way around a spicy, racy scene. What's your secret? What's the secret to writing sexy scenes, and what's the secret to writing scary scenes successfully?
Well, I think, yeah, sex scenes are hard, and I did a lot of revision in that area, and I would write one and think, oh wow, that's great, and then I'd go back and read it and think, oh, that's so corny. So it wasn't easy. I do think that one thing I did at least was I avoided using too many literal words. I focused more on the sensation of things, and yeah, what your body is doing when things are happening, and that felt more natural to me than really spelling it out and using all the terms, and so that's essentially what I did.
Yeah, because you know what's not sexy? Anatomical terms. That's
Right, right.
zero sexy.
Uh-huh.
Um, Margaret Pinard, welcome to the conversation, joining us from the Pacific Northwest. She says, "Great question." Now, Margaret writes historical fiction that's based in the UK, England, and Scotland. So, Margaret, any thoughts on this? If the ladies are more clad 100 years ago, you can sort of get away with less, unless this is Bridgerton,
Yeah.
where no detail is spared. So yeah, I'm fascinated by this idea because, as you said, Jessica, it can be corny or just stilted, awkward, wooden, and just not flowing. While we're all marinating on that, Renee wants to know: will you come to the U.S. for your book tour?
I'll be at Thriller Fest the first weekend in June, which I'm really excited about because I've never been. But other than that, I don't have any plans. No, no.
Okay, Renee, you need to come to Thriller Fest. Leave beautiful, sunny Southeast Florida and come on up to New York City and join us at Thriller Fest. So Thriller Fest is May 30th to June 3rd, and it is a all week long classes for writers, but also panels with your favorite thriller authors or your next favorite thriller authors. So I'm going to drop the link to the Thriller Fest website in the chat in case anyone is interested in either writing a thriller or hearing from their favorite thriller writers. Here is that link. Renee wants to know also, sorry, I'm just scrolling back to make sure I get this. Okay, no, I think I'm going to find it. The comment, I'm keeping up with the comments because I want to make sure we get every single person's. She wants to know, is this a good book to read on an airplane?
Well, I mean, I think so. I think it's a good book to read anywhere, but I'm a little bit biased. But I did have a review today that I posted on my stories because I found it really amusing, and the reviewer said that it wouldn't recommend reading it on the bus because she got uncomfortable with the sex scenes and the spiciness, and she felt like people around her, knew what she was doing, knew what she was reading. Yeah. So,
Right. She's reading it like this.
yeah.
I'll tell you what's not a good book to read on an airplane: Falling by TJ Newman. If you're afraid of air, I'm already baseline terrified to fly.
Uh,
So let me tell you what I won't be reading on an airplane: a book about a pilot who's held hostage and either has to crash the plane or his family dies, because
no.
that would put me over the edge. Oh my goodness. Margaret's saying, I didn't catch the question about earlier women. Was it about undergarments? Okay, Margaret, no, it isn't, but I would be curious. I actually follow a couple accounts about what turn of the century women wear, like their corsets and pantaloons and whatever. It's very entertaining to see what the turn of the century ladies were wearing. No, I was saying the difference in sex scenes between turn of the century books and now, because this book is unapologetically racy and sexy and spicy. And that is, we don't see a lot of that in the thriller world. So we're just, sort of chatting about that. Okay, y'all, I want to remind you, the book is not even out yet. It comes out tomorrow. Jessica's coming on for this very special pre-launch event. So you can grab your copy and order it here. To get in on the spicy scene. Renee saying this conversation has taken quite a turn. Oh my gosh. Yes. From undergarments to plane crashes to fear of flying. We're doing it all here on Mystery and Thriller. It's just Thriller Fest. We do it all here on Mystery and Thriller. Ms. Renee, you know how it is. You guys, I want to get back to some of the other amazing praise that this book has earned. So let's look at this fabulous review from Roz Nay. She is the bestselling author of The Hunted. She raves, steamy and devious. Don't You Dare is a compelling, hold on, I'm going to pop it up so we can all take a peek, is a compelling story of college friendships, secrets, and risks that circle back ever more dangerously. There is no escape when the game goes too far. So let's talk about the game, Jessica. So now we know you're a Truth and Dare veteran, veteran player. When you submitted the manuscript, did your editor say, we need more daring, we need less daring? Like, tell us about that.
No, my editor there wasn't not a ton to change in that sense. And I actually was really grateful that I wasn't asked to cut the spicier scenes. I thought I might be. Because you're right, thrillers and sex there, it's not as common together. So my editor just it was minor things. It was just working out some, this doesn't make sense with this, and this works a little bit better like that. So I had the daring game. I had already, the first version I sent. It was the backbone of the novel as it was. So yeah.
Excellent. Sara Tully joining the conversation. Hi, Sara. So great to have you here with us tonight. Welcome. Let us know if you have any questions for Jessica. Meanwhile, Jessica, I want to talk about this blurb from RJ Jacobs, author of Always the First to Die. So RJ, I'm going to pop this up again, says, Don't You Dare is a captivating, propulsive thriller that I literally could not put down. Don't try to guess what will happen in this taut and poignant novel. So let's talk about that. What is your process? Are you a plotter? Are you a pantser? Did you always know what was going to happen at that crazy ending? Or did you, the plot twists, did you go back and have to do the twists later? Give us the scoop on your process.
So I am definitely a planner. I'm not a pantser. I don't even know how people do that. I'm in awe of that. So I do plan. I mean, I'm not a planner to the absolute, finest detail of things, but I have an outline. I have an idea of where I'm going. I have the main scenes laid out and where I want them to happen. But, usually what happens in my process is I get most of it done. I think I know who's going to do what, and and then I always seem to have this light bulb moment at some point where it changes, and I might add a whole other character, or it just might be a different character who ends up doing all the bad things. And it's not even necessarily in pursuit of the twist or trying to. It's just sometimes it naturally happens where I think, oh, this it just clicks so much better for me to have this person doing this. And with Don't You Dare, I actually did add an entirely new character who
Ooh,
became very, very important. Uh,
you
in the
added that
revision,
person down the road, like well
I
into it.
added them while I was doing the revisions that my editor had sent. So I had to get
Wow.
in touch with her and say, I hope you don't mind that I've added this whole new character and they're doing this and this is now happening and this person is connected this way. And I mean, I can't give too much information
No.
without yeah. So I did.
So
And again, my editor was great and said, oh wow, this is even better. So
so when you got to, because this is fascinating because that's a very late stage to be adding new characters. Was it, one of those, as you said, a light bulb moment where you just were like, oh my God, what was it that you felt was missing without any spoilers? Was it backstory? Was it, since you can't say who it is, what was missing that made you feel you needed this new character?
I think sometimes you can decide when you start writing, oh, this person should be the one that um you know does the main thing, does what the novel comes to a crescendo on. And you get it in your head, and sometimes it can be a lot of work to get that person to do it. You have to have them in a certain place, and have them anyway, it just can be a lot more work. And then
Mm,
for me, I just came up with this person who I thought, well, they're a very background person, not a main character, not even I think I'd written one thing about them. And then I just thought, no, I don't even have to work at making this person, you know, be the person.
very interesting to know. And I will need to know later who that person was. So
Okay.
how about this? Anyone who's already read the book or after you read it, DM Jessica and ask her who the late stage last minute character ad was. Can we do that, Jessica?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love that.
All right, let's do it. Oh my goodness, we have the incredible Aline Cogdell in the audience. Aline Cogdell has entered the chat. She is, of course, the incredible book reviewer at the Sun Sentinel, Publishers Weekly, and so many other places. She's saying, I liked this novel a lot. High praise there from Queen Aline.
Thank you.
Aline, thank you so much for joining us. What a pleasure and an honor to have you in the chat, to have you with us tonight. Aline, if you wouldn't mind sharing what you liked about this novel, I would love to know. I'm always so fascinated what it must be like to be a reviewer, because I always say to myself, Sara, stay aloof. You read and, read with a reviewer's, mindset. And the next thing you know, I'm like eating that popcorn and sucked right in. So I would be so curious to know. Okay, Jessica, is there a secret that you can tell us about this book that you've never revealed before? If you dare.
That's a question. That's really catching me off guard. A secret about this.
You could take the dare. We could dare you to do a headstand.
Please don't do that.
A cartwheel.
How about you dare me? I'll do it off camera and then I'll come back and tell you that I did it.
Okay.
No, I don't. I actually don't really have any secrets around this book. I wish I did. I mean, I could make something up that would be interesting, but no. I mean, no. It's like I said, the extra character that was sort of that's an interesting element to it that not everybody knows about, but otherwise, I just told. I think, and this is actually the first time I've told that bit of the book, so that's sort of like I just told the truth.
So, excellent. So interesting that the woman who has written about so many sexy, crazy secrets has herself no secrets, allegedly. Allegedly. Margaret wants to know, is there a secret file of clippings and alternate endings?
No, sorry, there isn't. I mean, I get rid of things. I don't like clutter, and that includes the files on my computer. And when I have passed on something, I really pass. And I mean, I do have earlier versions of it, but actually the earliest version that I wrote of it before I even had an agent, and I didn't get an agent with the earliest version, was it was even a little bit darker and sexier. And maybe that's why I didn't get an agent with it. But there was actually, one of the characters was a prostitute, and it was, yeah. So it was that's one interesting little backstory to it. Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
yeah. Now I want to go back and read it because I've actually forgotten what I wrote.
So I am fascinated that you don't like clutter to the point of not even keeping earlier drafts of the book. Like, you're the Marie Kondo of writing. It doesn't spark joy. Get out, whereas I am a writer hoarder. I have every single draft of every single thing I've ever written. And then it's so painful for me to delete that I keep a file. I keep a file called Great Writing I May Need Later, because I can't even bear to delete something that I've worked so hard on. I'm like, farewell, old friend. So I am fascinated and slightly terrified of you who just viciously deletes and cuts things. Wow. I'm going to have to process. I'm going to have to process that, Jessica. Oh my God. Okay. Wait, so I just want to make sure I understand. So your first draft, which you did keep in spite of your no clutter policy, was darker and dirtier. I don't want to say dirtier. It was darker and racier.
Yeah. And I think what I get rid of is when the book is published, I get rid of all of the versions of that particular, that I know I'm not going to use again, because it's more or less in there, even with slight changes. But completely different things I might keep. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. I'm still thinking about how the first one was darker and racier. I feel like you should do like a secret, on your website for those who dare, like a Jessica Hamilton After Dark, if you will.
Good
I mean,
idea. Good
who wouldn't
idea.
tune in for that? I would.
Right.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, you could have like a cocktail. Could be by candlelight. It could be in your book club, a Zoom where you tell us what really happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I like that idea.
Aline is saying, ha, her novel is clutter free. It gets to the point with a brisk pace. Let me tell you, that is high praise from Aline Cogdell.
Yes, it is. That's
Hashtag,
thank you so much. Yeah.
hashtag
Thank
goals.
you. Yeah.
Um, y'all, we are out of time. We're actually over time, but time flies when you're having this much fun. So, oh, hey, Robin, welcome to the conversation. She says, yes, one of my favorite authors keeps a tub full of assorted bits and pieces for each book. Okay, Robin, thank you for letting me know I'm not alone because I'm starting to feel like I should be on one of those shows, like my secret hoarder life, and you would come in and see all my old files and manuscripts, but I'm a saver. I can't help it. Y'all, it has been such a pleasure. Jessica, what a pleasure to host you. Thank you all for tuning in to get the inside scoop on Don't You Dare. I will be back at the top of the hour with Adam Mitzner with the inside scoop on Love, Murder, Betrayal, and then back an hour after that with Isabella Maldonado. We are triple trouble and triple the fun tonight. Y'all stay with me. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you all for
Thank
joining us.
you.
And I will see you very soon. Thanks, Renee.